What if you could fight debilitating joint pain and clear frustrating brain fog by chewing on a simple spice for just 60 seconds a day? It's not a gimmick. It's a simple ritual that transformed 72-year-old Arthur from a man trapped in his own body to a vibrant, active grandpa. His story is incredible. So if you're ready to unlock your own hidden strength, hit that like button and subscribe right now so you don't miss a single detail. Just a few months ago, Arthur's life was a story of quiet desperation. Getting out of bed was a battle against knees that screamed with every bend and a lower back that seized with a fiery grip. Playing with his grandkids, once his greatest joy, became a spectator sport. He'd watch from his armchair, a painful smile on his face, as the journey from the chair to the floor seemed like a mountain he couldn't climb. But it wasn't just the physical pain. A thick, frustrating fog had settled over his mind. Names would vanish, and he'd forget why he walked into a room. This mental haze was even worse than the joint pain. It felt like he was losing himself, piece by piece. Feeling like a burden and a spectator in his own life, Arthur had pretty much given up hope. Arthur had tried it all. He had a drawer overflowing with expensive supplements that promised the world but delivered nothing. His doctors gave him prescriptions that barely touched the pain, and came with a laundry list of side effects that made him feel even worse. He was tired of the endless cycle of hope and disappointment, and was ready to accept this dim reality as his new normal. Then one afternoon, his granddaughter, Mia, came to visit. She saw that familiar grimace on his face as he struggled to stand up. Remembering old family stories about a golden root, she walked into the kitchen, opened a cabinet, and pulled out a small jar of a vibrant golden orange powder, turmeric. She brought it to her grandfather. "Grandpa," she said softly, "I know you've tried everything, but what about this? Great-grandma used to say it was magic." Arthur almost laughed. "A spice, Mia? Honey, I need a miracle, not a cooking ingredient." He was skeptical, but the hope in his granddaughter's eyes made him soften. What did he have to lose? He'd tried all the complicated, expensive solutions. Mia told him about an easy 60-second habit. Desperate for any glimmer of a change, Arthur agreed to give it a shot. The habit was incredibly simple. Every morning, before breakfast, Arthur would take a small amount of the golden spice turmeric and mix it with a tiny pinch of black pepper. He'd then chew the mixture for just 60 seconds before swallowing it down with a glass of water. That's it. No complicated pills, no expensive gadgets. Just 60 seconds with a spice that had been sitting in his kitchen all along. The first day, he felt nothing. The second day, same thing. A week went by. His knees still ached, and his mind still felt like it was wrapped in cotton. He was ready to tell Mia it was just another well-intentioned failure. "It's no use," he told Helen one evening. "It's just a spice. I was foolish to think it would do anything." Helen, however, urged him to keep going. "You promised Mia a few weeks," she reminded him gently. "What's one more week?" "So," grudgingly, he continued. Each morning, he'd go through the 60-second ritual, more out of habit now than hope. He didn't know it yet, but he was on the verge of a major breakthrough. Then, about 10 days in, something happened. It wasn't a bolt of lightning. It was small. Arthur swung his legs out of bed and stood up. He braced himself for the usual searing pain in his knees. But it was duller. It wasn't gone, but it was definitely less intense. He took a few steps. The usual morning stiffness that made him shuffle was better. He didn't say anything to Helen, thinking it might just be a good day. But the next day, it happened again. Later that afternoon, he was trying to recall the name of an actor, a name that was stuck on the tip of his tongue. But then, instead of vanishing into the fog, it popped right into his head. "Connery! Sean Connery!" he exclaimed. It was a tiny victory, but for Arthur, it felt monumental. It was the first crack of light in a very long, dark tunnel. That little flicker of hope was reignited. For the first time in years, he felt a genuine wave of optimism. He kept up the 60-second ritual, but now with a new sense of excitement. What started as a glimmer grew into a blazing fire of rejuvenation. Over the next 2 months, Arthur's transformation was breathtaking. The man who could barely walk to his mailbox was now taking long, brisk walks around the neighborhood every single morning. The armchair that was once his prison now sat empty for hours. One Saturday, Mia and her family came over and found him right there on the living room floor, laughing as he helped his grandson build a massive Lego tower. Helen stood in the doorway, tears welling in her eyes as she watched the man she loved come back to her. The whole family was in shock. The most stunning moment came during his annual checkup. His doctor was looking over his latest blood work, his brow furrowed in confusion. He kept comparing the new results to the ones from 6 months prior. "Arthur, what in the world have you been doing?" he asked, completely bewildered. "Your inflammatory markers, especially your C-reactive protein, have dropped dramatically. I rarely see a change this significant without a major prescription." Arthur just smiled. His mind was clear, his body felt strong, and his spirit was soaring. He was thriving, all thanks to a simple 60-second habit with a forgotten golden spice. So, what's the real story behind Arthur's incredible turnaround? It's not magic. It's biochemistry. That golden spice, turmeric, has a powerhouse active compound in it called curcumin. Curcumin is one of nature's most powerful anti-inflammatories. For Arthur's joints, the curcumin went to work on the root cause of his pain: chronic inflammation. Numerous clinical trials have shown that curcumin can significantly lower key inflammatory markers in the body, like the C-reactive protein his doctor was so surprised by. Some studies suggest its effects can be comparable to certain anti-inflammatory drugs, often without the harsh side effects. It was literally extinguishing the fire in his joints. But what about the brain fog? Emerging science suggests that curcumin has a remarkable ability to boost a protein in the brain called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF. Think of BDNF as fertilizer for your brain cells. It helps existing neurons survive and encourages new ones to grow. While more research is needed, low levels of BDNF are linked to age-related cognitive decline. By potentially increasing BDNF, the curcumin was helping to sweep the cobwebs from Arthur's mind. But there's a secret key. On its own, our bodies are terrible at absorbing curcumin. This is where Mia's advice to add a pinch of black pepper was so brilliant. Black pepper contains a compound called piperine. When you take piperine with curcumin, it acts like a supercharger, increasing curcumin's absorption by an incredible 0%. That tiny pinch of pepper made all the difference. If you are finding Arthur's story as amazing as I do, and if you're starting to wonder what this golden spice could do for you, do me a favor and click that subscribe button. Because understanding the science is one thing, but knowing exactly how to make it work for you is the most important part. And that's what we're getting into right now. So, how can you make this work for you? You don't need a miracle, you just need a morning routine. While individual results can vary, the principles remain the same. First, the method. You can try Arthur's ritual and chew a small piece of fresh turmeric root, about the size of your thumbnail, with a pinch of black pepper for 60 seconds each day. If fresh root isn't easy to find, you can mix about half a teaspoon of high-quality organic turmeric powder with a pinch of ground black pepper to form a small paste and hold that in your mouth. Second, remember the key: that black pepper is not optional. The piperine is absolutely essential for absorption. Here's another pro tip. Curcumin is fat-soluble. So, taking it with a little healthy fat like a splash of coconut oil, some olive oil, or even a handful of nuts can also help your body put it to use. Third, consistency is everything. This isn't a one-and-done fix. The benefits build up over time. Make it a non-negotiable part of your morning, just like brushing your teeth. You can also get creative. A popular method is golden milk. You just heat up milk, or a non-dairy alternative like almond milk, with turmeric, a pinch of black pepper, and maybe some other tasty spices like cinnamon or ginger. It's a delicious way to get your daily dose. Finally, a quick but important word of caution. While turmeric is incredibly safe for most people, it's a powerful compound. If you are pregnant, have gallbladder issues, take blood-thinning medication, or are on medication for diabetes, you absolutely need to talk with your doctor before starting any new regimen. Your health and safety always come first. Arthur's story is such a powerful reminder that sometimes the best solutions aren't the most complicated ones. He went from feeling old, broken, and foggy to feeling strong, sharp, and full of life again. He reclaimed his health not with an expensive pill, but with a simple, intentional habit. He broke free from the prison of pain and the fog in his mind. He's no longer a spectator in his own life. He's an active, joyful participant. This isn't just about easing a few aches and pains. It's about reclaiming your strength, your clarity, and your joy. The potential is right there, hiding in plain sight, probably in your kitchen cabinet right now. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced the benefits of turmeric? Or do you have a natural remedy of your own that has changed your life? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience could be the very spark of hope that someone else needs to see today. And if you found this video valuable, please give it a like, hit that subscribe button, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next deep dive into the simple habits that can lead to extraordinary health.